Hey there, folks. This week's episode is being sponsored by The Shepherd Shop. The Shepherd Shop sells German Shepherd and dog-related merchandise, as well as our one-of-a-kind Woody's Place merchandise, with proceeds supporting Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. So to check out The Shepherd Shop and support the sanctuary, head on over to www.wpsgss.org/shepherd shop. That's SHEPHERDSHOPPE. And now, back to our episode. Hey folks, welcome back to the Life with Old Dogs podcast. I've been MIA for a little bit. Shut this window. It's May and it just feels like it's like late March outside. But I've been MIA for a little bit from the Life with Old Dogs podcast. So I have family that is far flung. I have my youngest son lives up the road, but most of my family live hours, if not a plane ride away. And some of my family members are up in years. And I've been trying to visit with them a little more often. One of my my beloved family members, my mother-in-law, is on hospice right now. And to go visit her is a 6-hour round trip. But I'm doing it. I'm doing it. All the dogs here are okay when I'm away. I have somebody helping out, but family first, and life is a seasonal thing. It ebbs and it flows. And sometimes things like the Life with Old Dogs podcast are not exactly a priority for me. And family is. So I've been a little MIA, but I'm back now. And I'm going to be looking down here a little bit at notes that I have written for this podcast. So here we go. So this week I wanted to talk about, or in this podcast episode, I wanted to talk about the effects of secondhand smoke on your older dog. Now, I feel like more people, or the younger people anyway, if they're going to do anything like, smoking, they vape instead of like smoke actual tobacco cigarettes. But still, a lot of people still smoke cigarettes. Mr. Woody's Place is a smoker, and he doesn't smoke in the house. He's not allowed to smoke in the house. He smokes outside. And even though he smokes outside, he still smells like cigarettes. It's in his hair, it's on his clothes, it's on his skin. When he pets one of the dogs or one of the cats lay on his lap, I can immediately smell it. I'm like just super hypersensitive to that smell, and I don't like it. So it's kind of been a source of contention for us, like the whole time, because I'm not a smoker and I don't appreciate all the smells that come with it. And Mr. Woody's Place, maybe because of his job, I don't know. He's just a big smoker. So anyway, how does that affect our older dogs? Secondhand smoke. So let's say you're a smoker and you don't go outside to smoke. When you have your dogs inside and you smoke inside. So you're on your sofa, you're relaxing, after work or whatever, and you're watching the news or Netflix or whatever, I don't know, scrolling on your phone, whatever it is that you're doing, and you have your older dog, and your older dog's laying on the sofa beside you, or they're on the floor on their bed next to you, and you're smoking your cigarettes. And I get it. It's relaxing for you. It's something you enjoy, but they don't get a choice in the fact that they're breathing in this secondhand smoke. And I look at it, just like their children. I mean, it's different, I think, for most people, because most people now know that cigarettes are bad for us. There's just so many chemicals and carcinogens in the cigarettes and the cigarette smoke that most people don't smoke around their other people, their children and whatnot inside the house. But there are still people to do. And if that's you, that's all well and good. I'm not judging anybody here. All I'm doing is trying to point out that for your older dog, it's not a choice for them. I'm almost certain it's not something that they want to be around. And especially because they're olfactory is so much more pronounced than ours when it comes to smells. Then it's on their fur, and they're licking their fur, and it's just bad all the way around for them. So you're, relaxing, and the room is smoky, and your dog really has no choice other than to be in that situation. So how does it affect an older dog? Okay, well, first of all, older dogs already have aged lungs. So they're not as strong as, a 1-year-old dog's lungs that could maybe fight off infection if need be. They are susceptible to more illness and disease simply because they're in an advanced stage of life. So their lungs are already kind of worn out, right? They're kind of worn out. Just like us, I've made this comparison so much throughout the Life with All Dogs podcast. It's just like us. Our bodies start to wear down after a while. Things start to break. Things don't function the same way they used to. It takes us a little while to recover from an illness or an injury, and it's the same with the dogs. So their lungs, they're kind of worn out, and now they're subject to this bombardment of secondhand smoke on a regular basis. So they could end up with respiratory infections, wheezing, allergies, even something like like akin to a bronchitis, simply because they're producing more mucus. And that can be an issue. And then they're probably not getting treated for it. So that could be a life-threatening issue to our fur friends. And definitely affects their overall well-being. So there's also, just like humans who are exposed to secondhand smoke, there's also an increased risk of cancer. And not just lung cancer. Like they could get nasal cancer, lymphoma, even mammary tumors can be more pronounced in a household where people are smokers. Again, we all know at this stage of the game that there's carcinogens. It's causes cancer. Even if it is secondhand smoke. And sometimes secondhand smoke, in my mind, and in Sasha's mind, is worse than the person who's actually smoking, because the person who's actually smoking has that filter on the end, where the people or animals in the room with the smoker there's no filter. They're just breathing it in. So it does increase the risk of cancer in our older dogs. And then you have dogs who there could be predisposed genetic factors, or dogs that are immunocompromised, and then they're really subject to developing cancer from secondhand smoke. Again, I'm looking at notes over here on the side. It exasperates existing conditions. So, if there's a lot of, what is it, carbon monoxide. That's what's happening when someone's blowing the cigarette smoke out, the secondhand smoke. I have dogs over here from my neighbors barking, and Sasha's hearing them. So I'm caught in the crossfire of dogs barking. But it's Life with Old Dogs podcast, so that's that. But I've kind of touched base on it already. It exasperates existing conditions for dogs who, their bodies just aren't functioning as optimally as when they were younger. Believe it or not, for older dogs who live in a home with a smoker and they're breathing in secondhand smoke, it can also cause behavior and anxiety problems. And I know you're thinking like, well, how could that possibly be? Well, the toxins and chemicals from the cigarette smoke that the dog is breathing in can actually affect their brain. Okay. It can disrupt brain patterns and it can cause behavioral issues and anxiety. And if you have a dog who's older and is already not feeling well, being subject to secondhand smoke only enhances that situation for them, which could also cause behavior and anxiety problems. Okay, so what can be done um, to help protect an older dog who lives in a home with a smoker? Well, the biggest thing is if you are a smoker, smoke outside or go down in your basement and smoke even. Aside from your dog, take it from someone who had a professional residential and commercial cleaning service for 2.5 decades. I cleaned people's homes who were smokers, and I can tell you that when my staff and I would take a picture off the wall to wipe the walls, you could see exactly where that picture was because there was this orange kind of funk on the walls. When we would mop the floor, the bucket would have like this orange rust, I don't know, weird color to it that none of the other houses had. So that tobacco smoke is literally polluting your home and all the inhabitants in it, some of which who have no choice, like your dog or small children. So do yourself a favor and smoke outside or like I said, down in the basement. The other thing you can do is have air purifiers in your home with HEPA filters and make sure they are changed regularly because we have air purifiers here at the sanctuary, and I know if you don't change the filters in the back, they get so funky, like they're just not sucking up anything, and they're just spinning and spinning, and nothing's actually getting purified. So change the filter regularly if you decide to incorporate air purifiers in your home. Okay, another thing that I would encourage you to do is to educate yourself on the harmful effects of secondhand smoke on other people and pets in your home. Um, I don't think anyone really wants to, well, I shouldn't say anyone. Most of us don't want to cause harm to others, either willfully or unwillfully. But sometimes we don't know, right? There's something that we don't know, and it causes unintentional harm to others, but harm nonetheless. So educate yourself about the effects of secondhand smoke on those around you, including your four-legged fur friends, and ultimately just try to make your house as smoke-free as possible. Like I said, not only for your dogs, other people, but also for you too. Um, so you're able to come into your home and not have that orange funk that I'm talking about. Trust me, it's there. And the smell that is associated with cigarette smoke. I mean, again, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I'm sure most people who smoke cigarettes know that there is a smell to it and that others can smell it on them. And trust me, that smell, um, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for you, not just the way it smells, but for you physically. Another thing I would encourage you to do if you're a smoker is, when it comes to trying to alleviate um, causing any harm to your pets, is to wash your hands. Go outside, smoke a cigarette, come in, and make sure you wash your hands. Okay, because you do have the tobacco and nicotine with all the chemicals and carcinogens on your hands, on your fingers. And I've pointed this out to Mr. Woody's place too, because his smell is not so great, I guess. I don't know. And he just doesn't realize that, it's on his hands and that when he pets any of the dogs or the cats that then their head or wherever you pet them smells like nicotine. And again, then they're licking their fur, right? They're licking their fur and then they're indirectly ingesting those carcinogens. So just wash your hands. Again, most people don't want to cause harm and aren't aware. So that is what this very brief podcast is about. Just trying to raise awareness that yes, if you are a smoker, um, especially an indoor smoker and your pets are breathing in the secondhand smoke or getting it on their fur, it is definitely causing them harm. And for our older dogs and older cats, it's easy or it's harder for them to fight off infection, illness, and disease simply because they have an aged body. So um, that's it. That's all I have for today. This is a very brief podcast, but it's something I've been thinking about for a while now, and just wanted to talk about. All right, folks. Until next time, be well, and if you're a smoker, smoke outside.